Hello, Year 10. Welcome to your lesson today. So I'd like you to go ahead and make sure you're on lesson 4, which is on page 12, and then write in today's date, which is Thursday, 11th of March, 2021. After you do that, go ahead and start task 1 retrieval practice. And if my colleague could please stop the video for now and then come back in about 3 minutes. Now, after 3 minutes, hopefully you've been able to answer some of these questions. So, 3 adjectives to describe Macduff. Perhaps you went with something like loyal. You could also write down that he is a friend at the beginning of Macbeth, anyway. Contextual bits of information for Macbeth, to give me 3 of those. Perhaps you wrote something down about the great chain of being, or about the divine right of kings, or about witches. And then 3 adjectives to describe Macbeth. Perhaps you wrote down violent, loyal, confused. There are other options, so that's absolutely fine if you wrote down some other ones. And now I want you to look at number 2. What happened in chapter 9 of what we've read so far, which is pages 57 through 60. So if my colleague could stop the video now and come back after a moment. Now, let's have a little think about what happened in chapter 9, pages 57 through 60, and go ahead and have your book open and ready. Remember that this chapter is Dr. Lannon's narrative. So Utterson, in the previous chapter, has gone home. He's gotten out the narrative from his safe, and he's reading through the narrative. So this entire chapter, when it says on the 9th of January, now 4 days ago, I is Lannon. And so he's explaining how he received a letter from Jekyll. And he was reading the letter to us on the pages that we read. And we find out that he has several things that he wants Lannon to do. So immediately he wants him to go to Jekyll's house, to break down the door with a locksmith, to go into the cabinet, to go and break the lock if it's shut, to take out all of the contents, and then to take it back to Lannon's house on Cavendish Square. And he says, that's the first part. Then what I need you to do is this. At midnight, be alone in your room, and someone is going to show up, and I want you to allow this man to come into the house, and you're going to give him the drawer that you have brought with you from Jekyll's house. And then 5 minutes afterwards, if you really must have an explanation, you will be able to see what has happened. And then, P.S., I'd already sealed this up when I became worried about something new. So if this doesn't reach you in time, then just know that you have seen the last of me. All right, so that's what happened where we are so far. Now, what you're going to do in class today is you're going to start on where it says after grave responsibility, and you're going to read from I rose accordingly, and this is Lannon's description of what has happened and of what he does, and you're going to finish reading this chapter. All right. Now, as a class, you can decide if you're going to read together or perhaps use a link to an audio version of it. That's absolutely fine. Once you finish reading that, we need to look at task 3. And if we don't get to task 3 and task 4, that's fine. The most important thing is that you finish reading chapter 9. For task 3, I want you to think about, why is Lannon helping Jekyll even though he thinks Jekyll is insane? So the fact that Lannon helps Jekyll, what does this tell us about Lannon's character? And can you connect that into any themes? And so the idea is that you would then jot down your own ideas here, and then you'd have a class discussion, and you'd jot down other people's ideas here. And then, time allowing, you would do the last task today, which is to write a paragraph about why Lannon helps Jekyll. This is optional today. What I really need to make sure that you do is finish reading chapter 9. Okay, thank you.